Hello everyone, I hope you are doing really well. I am just doing a little introduction today because the what you're about to see I filmed way back in January when I was on maternity leave, super heavily pregnant, waiting for Mia to arrive. And I filmed a video all about how SewHayleyJane came about and sort of the process of putting the boxes together, but it turned into quite a long talky video, so I thought I would cut it in half and do the first bit about how SewHayleyJane came to be, and then the next video will be about the sort of the process of the boxes. So I just wanted to do a little introduction for that. So yes, on to past Hayley to tell you all about how SewHayleyJane came to be. Hello everyone, I hope you are having a really fantastic day. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I put a sort of call out for any questions that you'd like to ask me, and one of the main questions was sort of how I started my business and also my sort of process of getting the boxes together and everything like that. So I thought I would do that as one video to share with you today. So I'll start off, I'll show you, I am wearing my Sew Over It kimono jacket out of this lovely viscose, which I think was from Minerva Crafts. I made it last year, and it's about the only me made that currently fits me. I'm filming this video in advance, so by the time you see this, fingers crossed, there might be a little new person in the SewHayleyJane team. Fingers crossed. So how did I start my business? How did it all come about? Let me take you on a journey. It was just after Christmas in 2016. I was working as a deputy manager in a day service for adults with learning disabilities and autism, which I was really enjoying, but I just wasn't quite, I'd been there a few years, I was ready for something new, a change. I'd really gotten into sewing, so I've always kind of dabbled in sewing and had a go at dressmaking, but it wasn't until sort of recently that I really got into dressmaking and started finding out about sewing blogs and vlogs and Instagram, you know, that kind of thing, and with lots of new fantastic independent designers as well, bringing out really lovely patterns. I was really inspired by it, and I also read a lot of blogs about women starting businesses, and I just, yeah, I wanted a piece of that basically. My husband runs his own business as well, and I have to say it was very hard leaving for work at 8 o'clock every morning whilst he was working from home, especially in the winter. It was tricky, so I was getting a bit jealous. And I had been sort of talking, my husband and I were driving home from somewhere one day, and I was talking about how I'd really love to start my own fabric shop. In where I live, there really isn't a huge amount of options available close by without sort of driving half an hour or so. There's a Fabric Land in Southampton and a John Lewis, it's a very good John Lewis. And there is a fabric shop in Winchester as well, but it doesn't have a huge amount of dressmaking fabrics. And it also, you know, having seen online shops like Sew Over It and Guthrie and Garney that were just really beautiful and catered to sort of the new age sewist, I guess, I was just really inspired by it and wanted to do something like that. But opening a shop is an expensive business, especially trying to get it in the right spot with good footfall and all of that kind of, taking all of that into account, it would have just, yeah, it wasn't going to work. I didn't have that kind of money to start up something like that. So we discussed an online kind of shop, But one of the things that I really wanted to take into consideration was getting that community feel that you would have in a shop, you know, getting to know your customers. And there were a few online fabric shops starting to pop up as well. So I wanted to do something a little bit different, something a little bit niche. And we had, at the time, we were subscribing to a fruit and veg box scheme that was being delivered every couple of weeks. And we sort of, you know, Andy, as you do, you sort of thrash ideas around. And he said, well, could you do some kind of subscription box company with fabric and whatever? And that's when that little light bulb went on. I was like, oh, that could be fun. That could be really interesting. So that was it. The seed was sown. The idea was born. This was in January 2016, and I then spent a good few months really researching it, and I did a couple of online courses in, you know, starting a business. So if you are interested, and you're looking to start a new business, one course that I did that really helped me to sort of focus on it was by A Beautiful Mess. It was their Start Small Dream Big e-course, so I'll link to that below so that you can have a look if you're interested, and it talks you through writing a business plan and, just like I said, just getting really focused on the idea. I did a little bit of market research, so I kind of put some boxes together, although they were looking quite different to how the boxes look now. And I got a little group of friends and family together one evening and showed them the boxes and got some feedback on it. I think branding is really, really important. So I did invest in getting the branding right, and I worked with a lady called Clementine Mitchell. I'll link to her below as well, so if you're looking for some really good branding, I highly recommend her. She was fantastic, and she helped me come up with the colour schemes and the designs. You know, she really took what I wanted into consideration and created just this beautiful branding and website and things like that. So yeah, I think that was really important. Getting that right from the very word go was really important to me. I love a bit of good branding as well. I think it's exciting when you see something and you know what company that is. So then the next step was to start building up a bit of a following on Instagram and Facebook. I hadn't really sort of put the idea out into the world yet. I wasn't ready to. There was still a lot of work that needed doing, and I did keep my cards quite close to my chest at that point as well. I didn't want to reveal my big idea because I was worried that somebody would take it and get there before me, which is still something that I do think about. So far, there's lots of great subscription boxes and lots of great dressmaking kits available, but I think we've all got something a little bit different about us, so which is really nice. Then my next sort of step was to start figuring out where on earth I was going to source all the bits and pieces that were going to go into the boxes. So I did some research around suppliers and wholesalers, and as also not just for the fabrics and the contents of the fabrics, but the boxes themselves, and anything that was branded, so my postcards, my labels, all that kind of stuff. I spent a bit of time researching that and getting that right, and it still changes sometimes. You know, there's still new things come out that would work better, so I'm still open to maybe one day I'd like to get the boxes branded rather than just a plain white box, get some kind of branding on my boxes as well, but that's something to think about in the future. So yeah, I started building up a bit of a rapport with suppliers and wholesalers, you know, telling them who I was and what I was planning on doing and whether or not they would be able to accommodate what I would be doing. And I've been really lucky. I found some really fantastic places to source all the bits and pieces. I'm not gonna reveal it though. So that was the next stage. And then it was starting to think about advertising as well. And photography for the website. So I took all the photos myself. I borrowed my mother-in-law's camera, and I took a course on, again another A Beautiful Mess course on how to use a DSLR, and I took all the photos myself. If you look back through my blog posts, I think my photography has improved. There's still improvements to be made, but back at the very beginning they were pretty shocking, I have to admit. But that was fine. I thought they were good at the time, and I have since updated, and I will probably update again in the future too. So photography was something that I learnt, and I also did a course on using Instagram and social media by Jenna Kutcher. Again, I will link to her below, because Instagram, I know it's a bit of a sort of dodgy subject. If you run a business, Instagram and Facebook are really important. It's advertising, it's a way of reaching out to your customers, it's a way of connecting with your customers as well, which is something that's never really been available before. You know, before it was all magazines and newspapers, and you would write something and then that's it. You know, you're not going to get that conversation and that community going like you can on social media. So social media has been a really big part of growing my business. I wasn't at a stage where I could afford traditional advertising in magazines and things like that, because that is an expensive avenue. But luckily there was the fold line, and I sent Kate a box to review on the blog. No, she did a vlog about it and some social media, and those fold line girls have been absolutely amazing in helping me get SewHayleyJane off the ground. So thank you girls for that. So I sent Kate a box that, it wasn't one of the boxes I was sending, I sort of put together an example box and sent that to her, and she put that up on the Fold Line YouTube channel, I think just before I opened the website. So that was great, because she had done that. There was starting to become a bit more awareness around what I was doing, and when I opened the website to take subscriptions, the Fold Line also tweeted and Instagrammed about it, and that really got the ball rolling for me. So that was it. So that was September 2016. So a good 8 or 9 months of planning before I actually started opening up for subscriptions and sending the boxes. The first box went out in October, and I had 14 subscribers in my first month, and I was so chuffed with that. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what the reaction was going to be, or whether people would go for it. I was hoping just for maybe 2 or 3 subscribers that first month, but I got 14, which doesn't sound like a lot now, but at the time I was just so chuffed. I was happy dancing all over the place. And it has just grown from there. It's been amazing. It's just grown and grown. I did a back in January, so a year ago, I did a sort of a review of the year and plans for the year ahead, and I set myself a goal of the amount of subscribers that I wanted to have by the end of 2017, and I have nearly doubled it already, so that was just incredible. Yeah, and I'm just so grateful. It's been amazing, and I really love doing it. I love my job. I'm so lucky that I get to do what I love every day. So that's kind of how SewHayleyJane came about. So I hope that was interesting. Having filmed it all the way back in January, I can't quite remember what I said, but I will be editing that and putting it all together, ready to go out. So I hope you enjoyed that. Have a lovely day, everyone. Bye.